ourselves with a word of prayer in the name of the national anthem, which most of us, or if not all of us, will then easily relate to. So I will just sing it along and then we will proceed. Ee Mungu nguvu yetu, ilete baraka kwetu, haki iwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na undugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi. So thank you very much. I want to, on behalf of the council, to welcome all of you for this session. How the session will run is that I will give a few remarks in terms of what we are doing as Secretariat. I will hand it over to the chairman, who will speak on behalf of the council in terms of the council plans. From there, we will hear a few remarks from the PDC committee through CS Karanja. Then we will move into looking at the questions that were raised on the online platform. From there, at around past, we will move into the launch of the Governance Journal, which will then be led by Professor Kiarie, all of whom are panelists as we speak. So I'll begin by giving a few remarks, especially when it comes to Secretariat. We were tasked by Council to try and ensure that there is a welfare within our staff membership, and Council took time to also ensure that we comply to the requirements of the Ministry of Health. And therefore, we had to change our office planning in terms of ensuring the hygiene, the cleanliness, and even taking care of the individual staff members, including a bit of support, so that when they come from home, they are able to test themselves to ensure that they don't come to the office with any issues. Council went ahead and also set aside a small emergency kitty, that in case any of our staff members gets into problems in this particular pandemic, then we are able to support them to a big level. That has been one of the things that we have done. We've also been able to try and move our programs into the online platforms, and we'll hear more details in terms of how we are planning the CPDs, both for unstructured and structured, most of which we are giving for free. And we began last week where we gave online free CPDs. And then we're also having some that people pay a little money just to help us in terms of facilitation of either the speakers or the platforms which we are offering these specific pre-recorded CPDs as well. We have also been able to work in shifts in the office. You know, our office is slightly small, and therefore through the council, we've been allowed to try and work in shifts and have many people working from home, and also enable the online platform so that people are able to have enough space as we work in the office. Of course, there are many other things that council is considering in terms of ensuring there is pay. We're also planning to have trainings for our staff members, both on how they can manage their finances and also how to deal with this pandemic, because it can really affect how people then work at the institute. Those are the few remarks I wanted to give before I formally hand over the session to our chair, who will, on behalf of council, then give his remarks. And therefore, dear members, please allow me to invite FCS Waweru Mathenge, who will give his remarks in terms of the council session today. FCS, karibu.
Thank you very much, CS Obare, for the introduction and for the various areas that you've covered. I bid you all good afternoon and welcome to this webinar, which we thought as council was important to have, just to bring you up to date on what your institute is doing, the council and the secretariat working together to ensure that even in these interesting times that we are living in, we try and ensure that we meet our plans, that with as good a sense of normalcy as is possible at this time, and just to ensure that we continue to carry on our activities and meet our objectives. as we had set out to do. So I'll just highlight some of the things that your council is doing. And I think at this juncture, I want to appreciate the council members present, and also the secretariat for the way that they have all responded to the challenge that has been brought upon us by this COVID-19 crisis. I also want to appreciate you, the members, for the support that you have continued to give us by way of feedback, suggestions. I'd encourage that you continue to do so, because you know, being the interest in terms we're living in, we are called upon to be more innovative so that we're able to meet this challenge head on, even where some of these challenges were not envisaged in the past. So just some of the things that we are looking at. The critical institute activities, including council and committee meetings, have been going on. And in light of the guidelines given by the Ministry of Health, we have maintained social distancing, and we are using online platforms such as the one that we're using now to ensure that our meetings go on as scheduled in the work plan that we had approved at the beginning of the year. So I just want to assure you that council's work continues. The committees are continuing to work according to schedule, and the output is there for all to see. We expect that we shall continue in that manner until the restrictions are lifted. In addition, Council is also, through its relevant organs, currently developing governance standards for virtual meetings and circular resolutions. This, of course, has acquired some urgency in light of the challenge that we find ourselves in. And we're inviting all members to send in their proposals to the Secretariat so that they can be considered incorporated in the standards that we intend to publish very soon. In addition, we also continue to revise and draft new governance standards in various areas that we had not covered in the first round. And this work will continue according to schedule, and we expect that later in the year, we shall be able to release those new governance standards. In addition to that, the 29th Annual General Meeting will be held on Friday, 19th of June, 2020. Council is proposing to hold the AGM through a hybrid format, which is a combination of virtual and physical attendance. Members unable to participate through virtual platforms may gather at the Institute premises, from where they will be provided with screens and relevant ICT support. Of course, because of the current restrictions, there can only be a certain number that will be able to be physically present here, so that we're able to maintain the social distancing that is required. So as far as possible, we will call upon members to register to use the online or the virtual platforms, and those who would want to attend physically would need to advise the Secretariat in good time, so that proper planning and measures can be put in place at the Institute premises. The 2020 Council election processes are ongoing as per the election guidelines that had been issued earlier, and the names of candidates will be published as soon as the nomination and approval procedures are complete. And members are invited to participate in elections as soon as the online election portal is open. That is what I wanted to cover this morning with regard to what council is doing, but just to assure you once again that your council is working to ensure that the activities of your institute continue without interruption. And as far as possible, we shall ensure that you continue to receive the services that you are entitled to, even in these difficult times. So once again, I want to thank you all, and also thank Council and the Secretariat for the great work that they're doing at this time. The next, we shall just hear a little bit more from our professional services team, and I just want to invite CS Jeremiah Karanja, who is our head of professional services, just to give us a brief in terms of what is happening on the services front. Welcome, CS Karanja.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, members. Yes, I just want to mention a few things. One is in regard to the discussions we'll be holding with BRS to facilitate members in terms of their services that they offer to their clients. Sometimes, about 2 weeks ago, we requested for some input in terms of recommendations that we want to give to BRS, and we did submit the same, and BRS is considering and will be getting back on their responses. Secondly, we are aware there could be 1 or 2 hiccups in terms of issues of liquor business and other services offered by BRS. And I want to appreciate our manager membership services, who has been offering support to members in terms of follow-up on any pending items. And therefore, if you have any challenge in this regard, you can always contact our membership service manager, CS Emily Mugonyi, and she'll be very useful in this regard. The other thing that I want to mention is on our online trainings. If you go to our website on the e-learning portal and log in as a member, you are able to access quite a number of e-learning trainings which are available, including the webinar that we offered last week on AGMs in the era of COVID-19. All of them are available on our portal, and therefore members and even the general public at large are able to access some of those materials, and which include both structured and unstructured CPD trainings. In the coming days, we are discussing at the Professional Development Committee in terms of trainings that will be offered on live webinars, and some of the topical areas that we are considering include how to run effective virtual meetings, focus for boards during and post-COVID-19, issues to do with money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism, issues to do with corporate governance and secretarial practice during the COVID-19 pandemic. We are also exploring on offering the governance accreditation course online. And this is a discussion we are having at the Professional Development Committee of the Council on the modalities of having this course offered, possibly in the month of June. Similarly, we are in discussions with Business Registration Services, BRS, to have a live webinar and how just to explain to members on how BRS will support them in terms of the services that they offer. Another area that we'll be offering soon, especially in support to boards, our members and businesses, is issues to do with governance of risk, disaster recovery and business continuity planning, including some soft issues like tips on working from home. And lastly, the issue of rethinking governance and leadership during and after COVID-19 pandemic. I noted quite a number of questions from the membership in regard to whether we are having a program or whether the calendar of events as it is now remain. What will happen is that after relevant council approvals, we will be sharing a revised program, which includes the online, the live virtual trainings as well as those that are available on our e-portal, e-learning portal. Thank you, Chairman. I now invite the CEO to proceed from there.
Thank you very much, CS Karanja, for those remarks that you've, how you've articulated the remarks. I want now to move to the questions that were raised by members, and we have very many of them, which also have been shared with the council members. So what we'll do is to try and summarize most of them, and then the ones which haven't been covered very exhaustively, then they will be covered by the relevant committee chairs. So the questions were ranging from how we are offering the online services, which we have already responded to. There were questions around whether we will continue offering the online platform. Is to mention that actually part of the strategic plan for the institute is to try and ensure that they go online. So the CPD online that I've started will not end with the COVID, but they will continue in those particular platforms to serve a wider range of members. So that is something that is already in the planning. Then there were questions around how to access the CPD online, which now we have given you the link, and I know that now will really help you in terms of working on those specific items. There were questions around how people can transfer their CPDs from other professional bodies to the institute. We have an elaborate CPD policy, which is on our online platform. I want to encourage members to go into it and see how do you then apply if you want your CPDs to be converted from other professional bodies to ICS. Then there were issues of the calendar. Then there was the issue around people asking how we have slowed down on publishing at the Standard newspaper. We want to assure you that it's because there were internal changes at the Standard editorial team, and therefore we were not able to push our publications, the Standard group, but now we will revive that, and from next 2 weeks, you will see us coming back to those particular forums. There were issues around the Governance Journal, and because we are launching it shortly and now it will work, we will be responding to that question as and when we talk about the Governance Journal. Then we saw issues asking about our branch networks, and we want to also tell members that we have actually branches in 2 regions. We have Western branch and the Coastal branch with the leadership there, and I know there are considerations to try and support those specific branches as it were. Those are among the areas that people wanted their issues to be addressed. But I know that also council members have comments about a number of things. So I will, through the chair, I will probably give it back in case there are comments coming from the council, so that we can see how to summarize the other questions that might be coming shortly as well.
Thank you very much, CEO, for that brief. Just because I cannot see CEO, perhaps you can advise how many do we have council members present? How many?
Chairman, we have CS Salome Onyonka, we have CS Vice Chair Diana Sawe, we have CS Calvin, we have CS Mercy, and I think if I see any, I will let you know, Chair. But for now, I know that there's a comment that CS Diana wants to respond to some questions. So I will request Chair that maybe she can give some responses.
Thank you very much. I invite Vice Chair to respond to some of the questions that have been raised by the members. Over to you.
The Vice Chair, if you can hear me, you have been invited by the Chair to, okay.
Thank you, CEO, and good afternoon, everybody. Very glad to have you this afternoon listen to us as council, and we are very pleased to announce this launch of the inaugural journal that we are having, and happy to have you that we are able to engage during these times of the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure that we are still able to continue giving the services to members as anticipated. So for the questions asked, I think most of it have already been covered by CS Karanja, and I would like specifically to go to the question that was asked by CS Jane Munene. CS Jane Munene is asking, what kind of support are you giving to members during the COVID-19 crisis? And I would like to indicate here that the Institute, first of all, is supporting members by ensuring that you get your CPDs and be in good standing. That's why we are offering these various webinars online at for free to ensure that by the time the year comes to an end, we are able to comply with the CPD requirements. And also, we are also understanding that these are tough economic times. We are trying to assuage that by ensuring that members can still attain their CPDs without going an extra mile or digging deeper into their pockets to ensure compliance. Also, we have the ICS Benevolent Fund, which we are trying to ensure that we are able to quickly respond to any challenges that members are having in case we have any requests for financial assistance in accordance with the trust deed and rules and the requirements of the Benevolent Fund. So if you are a member in good standing and you have subscribed to the Benevolent Fund, you need financial assistance, we are available and ready to assist at this time of need in a very expeditious manner. And another question we have by CS Ken Jagi is whether we accept trainings from other bodies for CPDs and how this should be claimed after completing the training. So for now, depending on the memorandum of understanding between the institute and any other professional bodies, some trainings will be recognized. For example, the Law Society of Kenya, I know we have an understanding, and depending on the training that is attended here, some amount administration fee has to be paid to the Law Society of Kenya to ensure that they are able to log in and give you at least a point for compliance with the other institute. But I will let the CEO also comment whether we have another agreement with ISPAC as well as Institute of Human Resource for purposes of members to gain, having attended our forums here, and to be able to gain points on the other end. Over to you, CEO.
Thank you, Vice Chair. The only formal engagement we have is LSK. The rest of the bodies will be on a case-by-case basis. You need to apply as per our CPD policy, and then that will be considered. That's what happens for the rest of the people who may want to then have their CPDs transferred to ICS.
Thank you, CEO. I will hand over to Chairman for further guidance.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair, for those comments. Sorry. Thank you very much, Vice Chair, for your remarks. And I think from the list of questions that were circulated, I believe the answers have been provided to, on those questions. A lot of them were indeed a bit similar or on the same theme. But I think just to emphasize that as far as possible, we are going to try and ensure that the programs that we had set at the beginning of the year are actually carried on, so that we are able to meet or to provide you the opportunity to earn your CPD points, in addition to actually enriching your knowledge in matters of governance and in our profession. So as far as possible, we shall ensure that as planned, we shall continue to offer those programs. And as the CEO mentioned, it was actually in our strategic plan to have these programs go online. I suppose that is one silver lining out of this COVID-19 pandemic, is that that particular aspect has had to be brought forward rather quickly. We have met the challenge head on, and are ensuring that we put those programs online. So it means engaging the relevant resource persons. Some will be recorded, others will be live, but the intention is that you will be able to have all those programs offered to you. Council, again, I said we shall continue reviewing the situation as it unfolds. As you can imagine, it is still quite fluid. We do not know when this pandemic will be over, or for how long it will take, but we shall, of course, respond appropriately to ensure that we are able to continue in as normal a fashion as possible. So I think, yes, I'd like to invite the CEO to take us now to the next stage of the program. Over to you, CEO.
All right. I'm seeing a comment from Salome. Salome Chair wants to give a comment.
Over to you, CS Salome, who is our council member and in the Professional Development Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. I think good afternoon, members.
Afternoon.
I'm happy that we are having this session, and from the PDC committee, I just want to reiterate what the chairman has already said, and to also just thank members for responding to the online trainings, the online webinars that we've started putting up, because as the chairman said, we've had these in the plan, and but we were a bit slow in moving, but COVID-19 definitely has pushed us over. And one thing I just want to appreciate as members, I thank the members for responding, and most importantly, I thank the Secretariat for being Hello, that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CS Salome Onyonka, for your remarks. I think now we can move on to the next item on the program, which is the launch of the Governance Journal. And at this juncture, let me invite the CEO to take us through that part of the program.
Right. Thank you very much, Chair. Maybe if you allow me just to give a comment. I'm seeing very many queries now coming live about BRS. I can see Jackie Oyuyo asking about BRS and many other members. Just to give specific timelines, as it was mentioned earlier, we had done an official communication to BRS, raising the concerns that members gave. And once we get a response based on the council committee that is working with the BRS and LSK will be able to give you a response comprehensively. With those remarks, Chair, you will then allow me to move to the next session, which was session number 2, which is to officially then launch our inaugural Governance Journal. And this will be done by Professor Kiarie, who is with us. So just to give a short background about the partnership is that one of the key pillars, as we know, of the Institute is really to promote publications and issues of like journals or learning materials. So Council at a particular time last year made a decision to get a partner, what they're calling a knowledge partner, to assist in this very critical thing, because the idea is to inform policy going forward. And therefore, there was an MOU that was signed with various partners for various things. Among them was the University of Nairobi, who were to be the knowledge partners for the Institute. So there were a number of things that were envisioned in that particular MOU, including issues of research in corporate governance, issues of developing content, which has been a big issue for the Institute, the issue of the peer-reviewed journal. There were issues of also how do we tap into training, getting students, because Council is keen on the full pipeline of the CS profession. That means from students to our senior members to be able to be taken care of, and therefore the university was a good ground to get students who can join the profession for us to be sustained and to grow. And then the final one was issues of career. How do we then ensure there's some bit of career and the linkage between what is taught in the universities with the market? Those were among the key things that were envisioned in that particular MOU. And therefore, in mid last year, once it was signed, the first item that Council prioritized was the issue of the Governance Journal. And therefore, there was a long process that was done in that particular Governance Journal, which then Professor Kiarie will be able to take us through to give us more details in terms of what the university has also done. So really, before I hand over to Prof, we want to, on behalf of Council and management, to really appreciate the editorial team, which was headed by the chief editor, who is Professor Kiarie. We also had an advisory board that was appointed by Council to oversee that particular project, which was also headed by CS Sharon Kisire. And Secretariat also worked, of course, and then Council, in their last Council meeting, approved this journal for publication on the online platform. So I want to invite Professor Kiarie to give a background of this particular journal, and then we'll invite the chair to formally or officially then launch this particular journal. So Prof, if you can hear me, please welcome.
Thank you so much, CS Obare. Today is a very exciting day for us at the University of Nairobi School of Law. This is because we are not only celebrating the launch of the Governance Journal, but this year we are also marking 50 years since the establishment of the School of Law. Over the last 50 years, the School of Law of the University of Nairobi has been active in research and teaching. It has actually produced more than 10,000 lawyers who are serving in various capacities in the private sector as well as the public sector. The school is very keen to support research on governance, and we are happy to note that the partnership that we have with the Institute of Certified Secretaries is working extremely well, a fact that is evidenced by the production of the journal that we are launching today. The journal stimulates debate on corporate governance and the role that it plays in promoting the success of business and the economy of the country. As you're aware, our government is very keen to improve the economy of the country through the Big Four plan for economic development, as well as the Vision 2030. For these initiatives to succeed, the private sector needs to be fully engaged, as it plays a very critical role in wealth creation and poverty alleviation. The private sector can only play its role if it is governed well. It is our plan to have in the journal articles that address what makes corporate governance work and what doesn't. Being a system by which companies are directed, controlled, and held to account, corporate governance plays a very critical role in determining the success of companies and in turn, the success of the economy. Discussing these issues will help us change policies and laws that stand in the way of creating a conducive business environment. The need to have a conducive business environment is even more urgent now that we have the COVID-19 pandemic. This is because we shall need to make our regulatory framework flexible in order to stimulate business growth, resilience, as well as recovery. For instance, we need to make it easy for companies to make decisions. We recently read about a public company that was a scan group being allowed by the High Court to hold its annual general meeting online. This is the way of the future, and we need to ask ourselves whether there are any other laws or policies that we need to change in order to promote corporate governance, business, as well as our economy. The milestones that we have gone through in terms of production of the journal, maybe I can start by saying that we started by doing a call for articles, which was made by ICS to the ICS members and the general public, requesting them to write articles on specific thematic areas of corporate governance. This was done in October 29th, 2019. Others were required to submit papers within specific timelines. And we received a total of 14 articles to review. Preliminary admission of papers for review, we received papers. Papers were subjected to plagiarism check to ascertain the originality and the authenticity of the papers. And we ended up coming up with 10 articles for publications. And they were returned to others to review and to revise. And this was done by a panel of peer reviewers and the editorial team, which was constituted under the Research Review Subcommittee, which falls under the Professional Development Committee of the ICS. The panel included members of ICS as well as the academia. These are professors at the University of Nairobi's School of Law. For quality assurance purposes, articles that were submitted, as I said, they were required to be subjected to a peer review process. And the criteria was actually developed by the Research Review Committee. And this committee met severally to review the work until they came up with the right quality of the articles that needed to be published. The final review of the approved articles was actually done in February 19th, 2020, and the meeting endorsed the publication of 10 articles in the journal. Letters of acceptance were dispatched to others, and they were all required to sign a contributors agreement for publication. This was done in March 2020. Then we had the formatting and the layout of the Governance Journal, which took place between April 3rd and April 12th of this year. And that culminated in the approval for the journal to be published by the Council of the Institute of Certified Secretaries. I wish to thank everyone who has played a role in the production of this journal, especially the Council of the Institute, the Chairman of the Council, CS Waweru, Mathenge, the CEO, CS Obare Nyaega, staff at the ICS, CS Karanja, CS Gilbert Kiprono, the contributors of journal articles, our associate editors, Professor Musiri Wambua, Dr. Ken Mutuma, the Africa Law Chambers at the School of Law for spearheading the peer review process. I also wish to thank all the members of our editorial board. For members of ICS, we kindly request you to read the journal that has been circulated to your emails and contribute articles. We shall be accepting articles on a rolling basis. And we look forward to receiving contributions from yourself. We thank you so much for coming to this meeting, and God bless. CS Obare, over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof. So what we may want to have is, if anyone has maybe a question or two, maybe they can be able to raise them now, and then Prof can respond to them. If you have a question, you can put on the Q&A. We'll be able to look at it and assist in responding to them. Or you can raise up your hand. I can see if you raise up your hand or you post the question on Q&A, we'll be able to pick them and respond to them. So I can see two hands here. So I will, I'll open up for Peter. Peter, if you can have your question. Do we have Helen? Helen? Right. Jane Gikonyo? Jane? We are not able to hear them.
Helen Kwamboka is on.
Yes, we can hear you.
Helen Kwamboka is on.
Yeah,
Please
but
proceed.
okay,
Helen?
I didn't have a question. Sorry, CS Obare. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm excited to be part of the webinar, and I look forward to reading the journal.
Thank you. We have a question asking whether how often shall we have this governance journal, and if a hard copy will be available. I think on the frequency, I will let Prof, actually on both of them. Prof, you can go.
Thank you, CS Obare. In terms of the frequency of the journal, it will depend on how many articles that we get. If, for instance, now with this circulation that we have done recently, in the last 2 days, we are getting very, very good responses from different people saying that they are going to contribute. So if we get more articles we get, the more frequently we shall publish the journal. So we are hoping that in a normal year, we'll be able to do like 4 issues. 4 issues in a year. So that is quarterly. And once we are out of this situation of COVID-19, we shall actually explore the possibility of having a few hard copies of the journal that can actually go to members. Thank you. Thank you. CS Obare, over to you.
I'm seeing a question on the issue of the hard copy. For now, the council has agreed that we'll use the online copies, the soft copies for now, until such a time when it's appropriate to have hard copies. So we won't be having hard copies in the meantime. There is actually a question on accessibility. It's accessible both on our websites and the University of Nairobi websites. So those ones are easily accessible on those. But we have also emailed our members. For those who may not have a copy, let us know on our info@ics.ke, and we will get back to you immediately. Someone is asking about selling this particular journal. Do we want to sell it? And I'll want a Prof to comment, especially being an academic journal.
I think that, thanks so much for the question. I think that is something that we can discuss as a team, as a committee, and then we can also involve the council to make the final decision, because there are several dynamics that we need to take into account in terms of setting it, in terms of depending on how and what we want to achieve actually from the journal. So it's a decision that we cannot give an answer today. I think it's something that we shall consider at the committee stage and also give our suggestions to the council to be able to make a decision.
All right, thanks, Prof. So I'm still just trying to see, we have about 10 minutes to try and see if we could address as many queries as we can. So let me see if we have more questions on the platform. There's a question around how many CPDs people will earn for submitting publications. Every time we share out a call for papers, we indicate, it depends on which one. So we normally would indicate the CPD somebody would earn. Then people are also appreciating Prof and the university for your good work from the comments we are seeing on our social platforms here. Then people are still asking about sharing the articles, so we'll try as much as possible and try and publicize them as much as we can. And then there's also one of the reviewers who is appreciating the university, that is Jackson Masharia, saying that the review went on very well, and he says, thank you very much, Prof, for the compliments that we are getting from the platforms so far. I see a few hands up, so I would probably just allow one hand, so that exactly by 12:55, we can formally launch and end the session. So Robert Ochieno, if you're there, you can raise your query. Robert. If Robert is there, maybe not. I can see, and Robert Gidinji, if you are there. Rose Chalo, if you are there. All right. Let me allow Hillary.
I wanted to ask.
Sorry, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, first I want to thank the institution. Then I wanted to ask the committee whether it will be possible to also share the article with other universities, because I lecture at JKUAT and I would really appreciate if we could get a copy.
Thank you, Rose. Prof, you are noting that. Next. Hillary, please.
Thank you very much, CS Obare and Prof, for the opportunity. One thing I realized as we were doing the article is I'm one of the contributors, and you learn quite a lot in terms of researching and putting together the articles. In relation to the MOU that we have signed with the University of Nairobi, I was proposing that because of the insights that we gain while researching, the Prof may provide mechanisms where some of the contributors may be facilitated or invited to be guest speakers in some of those corporate governance classes at the University of Nairobi. Thank you.
Prof, you got those two?
I got those one, thanks.
All right, you can proceed, Prof.
Yeah, thank you so much for the questions. In terms of the first ones, sharing copies with Jomo Kenyatta, no, we are happy to do that. If you can kindly provide your email address or your number, telephone number with a WhatsApp, we can actually send the journal to you so that you can actually share with your staff and your students, because we'd also be very happy to get contributions from Jomo Kenyatta and other universities as well. Regarding the guest speakers at the University of Nairobi, that's something very doable. It's something that we can do. And I can mention that we do run a very successful course at the master's level, a course on corporate governance, which I lead. And the course is becoming very, very popular. When I started teaching that course 10 years ago, I was only getting 10 students attending the class, the master's class. Today, 9 or 10 years after, I'm getting 70, not less than 70 students in the class. So it is becoming popular, and we know now, as we even go online in terms of teaching, we actually going to be able to get very many students, even beyond the borders of Kenya, because they don't have to come to Kenya physically to be able to attend the course. So in essence, we shall be requiring more people, we shall be requiring more experts to be able to talk to our students. So I agree that that is something that we can do. And apart from doing it at University of Nairobi, I believe that it's something that we can also organize with the ISCS. We can even have conferences, we can have seminars, where some of the contributors of the journal articles are actually able to be on the panel at those conferences, looking at different issues. There's a question on the screen as well regarding the fact that most of the articles that we got appear to lean towards the private sector and not very many on the public sector, where you have the state-owned entities. And we say that we are open. We are not only focusing on the private sector. Even the public sector is very, very critical, the parastatals, because they have a lot of challenges in terms of governance. So we are open, and we will not close out any of those articles once we get them. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Prof. So we've actually come to almost the end. Before this, what will happen is that briefly, you will see the chairman unveiling the governance journal shortly. Then from there, we shall get a vote of thanks from CS Diana, and then we shall close with the national anthem. We ask for your patience to ensure we all finish together. So I want to call upon the chair to now come and officially launch our online governance journal. Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do we need to open this again?
Well, thank you very much, CEO. Let me begin by appreciating the editorial team led by our able Professor, CS Professor Kiarie Mwaura, for the wonderful work that they have done to bring this governance journal to this stage where we are launching it. As you are aware, the Institute is mandated to promote and support research and publication in the area of governance. And this is one of the initiatives that is well within that mandate. And indeed, we are very pleased and proud that we have reached this stage. So the Institute has a strategy to support and strengthen and encourage research and publication in the area of governance. And this is intended for delivery of innovative and researched and efficient services to our stakeholders. Other initiatives on this front include the monthly articles, which we spoke about earlier, and then the Governance Researcher of the Year Award, which was launched last year at the annual dinner, and we awarded the first award last year at that gala dinner. And then we have case studies, development of case studies, development of codes of governance, publication of books, and studied materials. All these fall within that area of research. And we call upon members who are interested in supporting the Institute in these initiatives to contact the Secretariat by contribution of articles, doing research papers, publishing books, writing books in this area of governance, we are really looking forward to you, our members, to help in bringing to the fore this area of research and really enabling it to thrive. With that, dear members, it is my great pleasure and honor to declare Volume 1, Issue 1, 2020, of the year 2020, of the peer-reviewed Governance Journal officially launched. SSN number at the bottom there. That number is, it enables anybody doing research out there for academic purposes to refer to it. This is a journal that can actually be quoted at any university research department by any student carrying out research, whether it's a master's program, etc. It can be quoted. And this is internationally. So we are really proud to this moment when we're launching this governance journal, and it is our hope that it will grow from strength to strength with your help and your support. With that, thank you very much, and now hand over to our CEO to take us to close for us, and as we invite CS Diana, our Vice Chair, to give us a vote of thanks, and then we shall close.
A special recognition to CS Professor Kiarie Mwaura, together with the very able editorial board, who have done a very good job. Thank you, and we are proud to be associated with you, as well as all our partners, Africa Law Chambers, and most singularly the University of Nairobi School of Law. We thank you for your support, and also the indication that you will continue to support members as we go on in publishing more journals to come. We also would like to appreciate you, dear members, for taking time to attend and also showing a lot of interest in this particular journal, which is trailblazing in the area of corporate governance. We thank you for that, and we continue coveting your support as we try to enter into new territories in this particular aspect of corporate governance, and the Institute being the leader of this particular topic in this country. So we'd like to appreciate the Secretariat led by a very able CEO, CS Obare Nyaega, together with the ICT team, the research team who have put this together and ensured that we are able to continue despite the challenges that are ongoing. So as indicated by Chairman, kindly continue looking out for all the webinars and all the CPD points that will be accorded online to ensure that we are able to continue learning and serving our profession in a befitting manner. With that, I want to wish you all the best, as the Chairman has indicated, and please stay safe and adhere to government directives. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, CS Diana Sawe, for those marks. So we shall finish up as we began with a national anthem to pray for the current pandemic and also to wish everyone well with our as we unite together in the form of our national anthem. E Mungu nguvu yetu, ilete baraka kwetu, haki iwe ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na undugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi. Thanks for your support, and may God bless all of you and bless ICS as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And have a good day.
Thank you. Good day all.
Thank you very much. Good day.